Cedric
course
become
lah.
a horrible man to me now. He speak Cantonese.
冇講啊，講少少啦。
It's like the bands always said that 冇問題啦，冇問題啦。
Yeah. We don't
Hey
talk.
ho, everyone.
Don't talk Cantonese in his background.
So start now.
Yes.
Okay. Welcome for joining the Further Study Talk series. We invite our college to have an overseas study dialogue with our current graduates and alumni, and also we welcome another people to join. Today's the dialogue is our alumni, Yannie. She is studying in Paris at this moment. And also we invite Professor Cedric. He's the native, and he also can speak Cantonese. It is strange to me. And then we talk about the further studies not only in Paris, but including overall the France, if people would ask them. Okay, let's start. Yannie.
Yes.
Yannie. Yeah. Thank you, Mama.
Hi everyone, my name is Yannie, and I'm currently in Paris. So let me introduce myself a little bit. Actually, I'm a graduate from the Baptist University, and I study studio and media art. But after that, I decided to continue my study in France. So now I'm an MBA holder in a school. It's called IES Arts and Culture. And I'm focusing on contemporary art sales, display, and collecting. And currently, I'm working with a startup company. And now I'm mostly work with different small company on branding develop. And recently, I'm having an internship with a luxury brand in Paris. It's called Maridet. But before that, actually, I have 5-year experience to work like an on-site assistant for different affairs and museum docent. So it's still in the halfway to searching where I am, but I would say I'm more like a cultural mediator or like a buyer. And to explain a bit why I'm in here, it's actually a very practical reason because my boyfriend is a French. So because of love, that's why I'm here. But I also have some struggle when I trying to decide to come to France, because first, France is very huge. You have different provinces, so you have to decide where you're going. And also when you come, you can decide, are you going to come for working holiday or you're going to come for study? And end up, I choose to come for study because I think I already have 5-year experience on art, but it's like practically like making art. And mostly people now they're like in the industry, it's like people, they can manage the thing. That's why I think like it will be better if I go for MBA program. Like many people, they will confuse what MBA is means. MBA is actually means master in business. So if people they want for study is focusing on like visual art, then you have to be careful because that will be MA or MFA. And when I choose my school, I have to find school that is speaking English because I decide to come very shortly. I don't have enough time to learn French. So that is one of the reasons why I choose my school, IESA Arts and Culture, because they have an MBA and they taught in English. And also they have very good connection with the alumni. So in the industry, actually, mostly people graduating there, they will go back into the industry and work in there, and they make very good connection. And it's easy for the young graduate to hop up into the industry. And I would like to talk a little bit more about study, culture, and life, because it's very different. First, like in here, I remember the first few months, I'm still getting used to the dilemma in my study area, because first my school, they don't request people like in Hong Kong. They don't need you to know everything. Like you don't have to be professional on every subject and have an A for everything. No. They prefer people, they know one subject they're interested and be very, very deep, to be concentrate, to drag every single information from that area. Then they called it profession. In my school, is a business school. They mainly training at business manager from different industry. That's why like they will have like regular business class like accounting, audit, finance, or even have law to teach you like especially in art what you have to be careful. And besides that, they also have art history class, art history especially on art marketing, and also they will have sociology class to make you have a more full picture on the industry, to make you become a cultural mediator. And I'm located in Paris. Paris is kind of like the north in France, and I think everyone have a very great impression. It's like Paris is very romantic and very artistic. I'm not sure about the romantic part, but artistic, yes, it's true. Because we have a lot of museum in here, and people, you have a student card. Usually, no matter museum or even patrimoine, we call it's like heritage in France. You will be free. Like you just have your I'm student, and then you already can pass through directly. You don't have to pay. Or even you don't have a student card, but you are under 26, you actually can go to all this place for free. That's why I don't really go to many places, but the only things I would do in daily life or even in weekend, I will go to museum. Because for example, some museum they open very late. They open until 6, or even like Palais de Tokyo, they're like until 12 in midnight. And also I would say in Paris is really a gather point for all the core gallery and all the artists, because we have big art fair like SIAC, and also like Asia now, like so many different kind of art fair together, not only gallery from Paris, but like gallery from the world to come to here. And usually in France or general in the industry, the active period for all this kind of business or all this kind of activity, it will begin in September to November, and the next season will be in spring. But this year we are in COVID, so we will see. We will see. And I'm sure many people are interested about the price. Unfortunately, I'm in a private school because I have to hop up into a school very quickly. So you can see the price is so different. For private school, usually they will have international programs, so they will taught in English. That will be 14,000 euro for my program. And luckily, because my school, IES Art and Culture, have scholarships especially for Hong Kong people. So it's like an agreement between Hong Kong and the Cultural Council in France. So they support the student for 2,000 euro. It helped me a lot, actually, really. And if you didn't like have that much money, then maybe you can consider to go to public university. And for a bachelor is 2,770 euros. So it's like for a 1 year program. And for master it's like around 3,000 to 4,000 euro. And is also for 1 year. So if your program is for 2 years, then you just have to pay up for 2 times. But when you get into public university, you have to already have a B2 level on your French, on your language. Then it's like an entrance requirement. If you don't have it, then maybe I would suggest you can try to come for a language school first, then you hop up back into university. And you can see in the picture right next to it in my PowerPoint, that is a scholarship that is very popular in Hong Kong, because especially for Hong Kong students, every year they will pick 2 or 3 students from the whole Hong Kong. Then they will support like all their school fee, and also like every month they will have like some pocket money, and they will support them for the rent as well. So it's very nice. And actually, if you choose a school you like, you can also see if the school will have some scholarship together with the state, or they will have scholarship themselves in the school. So like many scholarship can still help a bit for the student. And for the life, I think I will have two words for people they're prepared to come to France or prepared to come to Paris. First, you have to be very practical, because life is not convenient at all in here. Like, it's totally different from Hong Kong. If you're in Hong Kong, you get down to the street, you just have to hop up to a restaurant for maybe €5, you can have a lunch. But sorry, in here, we can't. In restaurant, you have to, like, the cheapest one is like at least €15 for a meal, just for cheap fries and like fish and chips, something like that. It's not even the French meal yet. And for dinner, it's like almost 20 to €24. So that's why if you really, really miss your hometown food, you have to cook it yourself. And people in here, they plant their own agriculture. And people, they would love to go to flea market, because usually they can find very cheap daily necessary in there. And people, they will learn how to drive. If you don't know how to drive, then you have to get used to the long time traveling situation. You remember to bring your own books, because, for example, like where I live to go to my school, it's like 45 hours. But imagine, like, every day I spend almost 2 hours in the transportation. A bit like Hong Kong, but imagine if you cannot find so close in Paris, you have to live a bit outside. It's like 1.5 hours. So this is the life in here. You have to be independent and everything do it yourself. And I would also like to introduce French word to you guys. It's called s'adapter. It means in Cantonese 適應, like you have to adopt in there. I know that people, they have an impression like when they come to Paris, people, they don't speak English to them, even they know that. Yes, that is true. Because they are not being picky on you. It's just they wonder why don't even the people trying to give the effort to say bonjour, to start at least one word in French in their own country. So s'adapter is very interesting idea and a concept. When you are in France, you have to know that you are entering in their country. You are the foreigner. You are the one kind of invading in their area, so you have to adopt. That's why learning French is very important. And at least I think, like, if you can say bonjour, like it means 你好, pardon, 咩話, 講咩話, 聽唔明, or merci, 多謝, 唔該. At least, like, you have a little bit think you can speak in French. They will be happy and they will know that you have difficult in French, then they will willing to speak in English with you. So for the language, it's very frustrating, but still we have method to fix it. No worry, don't panic. France government is very kind to their people. Like the language system in here, we have official exam. It's called DALF, and you will see that it have like A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. It's a bit like in Italian and German exam, you know. If the beginner is like start from A and all the way to the professional is C. So B2 it means like in the middle, a bit above, then you can get into university. And people, they wonder how much it will be to get the language class. Usually in France, for €2 per hour for a public summer school, up to €30 per hour for private lesson one-to-one. You can find everything in here, even in Hong Kong, because in Hong Kong we have Alliance Francaise. It's a big organization. They will have both in Hong Kong and France, so you can find the class suitable in your level. And we also have la mairie. It's called town hall in French, and it's the blue one in here. They actually provide not only French class, they have all the class. It's a bit like the Hong Kong style in 工聯會. So you go there and then they will open different kind of class. Recently, I attend to a class especially for writing. For A2, I just have to pay 100 euro, and I already can learn 45 hours for how to write better in French. So for renting, I think you have to think where you're going to stay in France. It's true, because in Paris, it's super expensive. This is chart to tell you like the basic rent, how much is it for 1 month around. You can see Paris is like most expensive, and the more in other region is more adoptable, and also the price will be bigger. Like for example, in Paris, they will have different type of rent. They have studio or apartment. Studio is means like they have open kitchen, and apartment is means like you have separate rooms. And when you rent, you have to be careful because you have to think, are you going to share with people or not? And what kind of type you are sharing people. If you're sharing people with a studio, then it means like you maybe will have less private area. And also which arrondissement you are going to be, because Paris, inside Paris have 20 arrondissements, but then the price is even more expensive. So you can decide that maybe a bit outside, then you will have more space. And we calculate the space in here for square meter. And for the price right now, they will use, what I'm renting is a 30 square meter big studio. Then every month I have to pay 1,000 euro. But usually the rent, they will including maybe 9 to 10 euro is for the heater or like for the water including. Because in here we drink tap water. So when they rent, my French teacher said that is including like this basic need, because it's legally like they will including you will have water and heater when you get into a house. Is a legal requirement, my teacher said, so to ensure that you will not die in the house. So yeah. Cedric, do you have anything you want to continue?
Is anyone have questions? You can place your question in the chat box. Yannie could reply you any relate what she introduced. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Yannie. Well, maybe to continue with maybe more like practical informations before we kind of chit chat and ask questions. I would like to introduce website, and maybe I'm going to share my screen if it's possible.
Yannie, have you stopped the sharing? Yeah.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes. I should. Okay. So yes, there's this website, and it's actually a website that I went, and it's in link with the French consulate here. It's called Campus France, and as you can see, they have it's a website, a platform dedicated to studying in France, and covers quite a lot of different kind of informations from well, studying, how to choose a school, how to get organized, things about living in France. So you have a lot of kind of practical information here, like for accommodation, the costs, administrative procedures, etc. So this website is a very, very useful, I think. And I think, Yannie, you told me that you also went there in the beginning to get some informations. And so, like you said, like, yes, here you can find your program. They have a lot of different kind of subcategories about scholarships, about the education system in France. And the good thing is that it's in English, which is rare. which is also, I think, quite good. So getting organized, yes, from the visa to the bank account, social security. So it covers really every different aspect of thing that you might want to think if before you go and once you're there as well. So they cover as well about the idea of learning French, about health and insurance, all those kind of ideas. And also living in France, so introducing a lot of things about the culture that Yannie mentioned about as well. So of course, the gastronomy, traveling around, and I think as a student or as a young person under the age of 26, you have a lot of advantages, and for traveling especially, it's quite good. You have discount on trains. Also, it's the position of France within EU is quite good because it's kind of centered somehow. And so you can actually travel in many other places and go easily to Spain or Portugal, go to Berlin, go to London as well. So a lot of different kind of access to other places of interest that can be interesting as well. They also have a specific dedicated platform for studying art. So this is how serious we are thinking about studying art and creative industries. Again, yeah, culture, that's what Yannie was saying, like culture in France is really, really important. There's a lot of activities and a lot of people are going, and that's why Yannie was mentioning earlier that it was actually a good moment to travel now to visit museums because there's less people.
Exactly.
And it very often when I go back to Paris, very often I have to queue up as well. Like sometimes if I want to go to Centre Pompidou, for example, you have to queue up sometime, especially in summer. Because yes, people are going a lot to exhibitions, movies, theater. So here they have done a website. It's called campusart.org, and as well they have everything in English. So you also quite a very good starting point to have informations about which schools you can join, what program you can join. And as you can see, they have art, they have design, fashion, music, 3D architecture. So a lot of different kinds of fields. I know, for example, like of course, the industry of fashion is very popular. There's also many private schools as well. But in here, they're listing also all the different universities. And of course, it's usually public education is, of course, very, very cheap in comparison to first Hong Kong, UK, and actually many other countries in Europe. Actually, yes, there's a special page here for tuition fees, and I have some different kind of figures from here from you, Yannie, but for example, for a doctorate program, it's 280 euro
They
per year.
updated much, Cedric, that's why.
Huh? It's not updated much. Okay.
Yeah, updated in March. I just realized it yesterday as well. No worries.
Okay. So the master program is, yes, a bit more expensive for non-European. It's like 3,770 euros, but still cheaper, I think, than here. So yeah, universities, and also they have higher school, public national higher school of architecture, if you're or plastic art, so more like applied art as well. So you have all the lists of potentially tuition fees of different schools and different kind of system to look at. They have some kind of things or steps And I think this is very useful when you don't know exactly how to start and where to start. If it's like, well, how do I, what kind of things do I have to think of if I want to start to have a project of studying in France? So they are listing here all like essential steps, and I think it's funny that the first steps is actually to learn French, as Yannie says, was like, well, it's one of the difficult things, I guess, for studying in French is like very often you need to have a decent level in speaking and writing French. So I would start to learn French in Hong Kong, maybe for 1 or 2 years. And like Yannie said, we have Alliance Française. There's also a lot of universities who provide courses. I actually used to teach in some of them before in a previous life. But like all the main universities has continuous education courses. And I think some of them are also registered for the continuing education from the Hong Kong government. So actually you can get sponsored with your 20,000 Hong Kong dollars for continued education. So you could think of using this money from the government to actually also learn French in the first place. And then you could start to maybe think of which school you would want to go to. So enroll in higher education. So they have a whole list of different classes, different schools. They have information about the visa. And there's a special visa, actually. It's called Études en France, so studied in France. So it's a special visa for people who wants to, of course, study. So study is a student visa, kind of. So they tell you, again, depending on the countries that you are coming from, which kind of steps and what do you need. Things might have changed with the recent kind of change in international diplomacy. So I think this will have to be checked exactly how it is for Hong Kong now. And all things about financing programs, so educational cost, and also potentially how to find or where to find scholarships or financial assistance, and also finding a place to live. Like, so they're listing, there's student halls that you might apply. There's also the idea of maybe working part-time for a family, for example, or for elderly in exchange of a room or something like this. So there's possibilities of finding a lot of different kind of possibilities of accommodations that can be also enriching your experience, so that especially if you go there on your own, you might want to have interaction with locals. So if you're in a setting where you're in the family, for example, that can be also very interesting for cultural exchange. So yes, the cost. Yes, contact in Hong Kong. So actually this is the woman that I contacted here who provide me with some of the information here in the French consulate. So Yasmine Chafra, and so she's the head of Campus France in Hong Kong. So you might write to her in Campus France at Consul France or hongkong.org for other information as well, or other things. So yeah, this is, I think there was an interesting platform to share with you if you want to, again, look at things and have more informations. All right, so maybe maybe we can think of opening the floor to questions. Maybe if you have. Okay, I have. So anyone has questions, maybe to ask about either possible planning to go to France or interest of studying to France, or maybe simply asking questions to Yannie, who's basically doing it. Actually, Yannie, I wanted to ask you maybe first, what do you think was your biggest challenge or the the biggest difficulty for you to overcome, and how do you manage to overcome it when you choose to install that?
I think it's the language, serious, Cedric, because
Mm.
actually I decided to come to France. Yes, it's in a rush, but still I trying to, well, since when I make my decision, then I immediately find a teacher for learning French. I kind of have 1 year experience for learning French when I was in Hong Kong, but still when I arrived, is very discouraging when you're trying to talk with people, because they speak very fast, and also they have their own dialect actually.
Mm.
So without the language is very difficult at the beginning to even to find a toilet on the street. And I remember I have several experience when I go to a shop, I try to just find some products I need for hair, and they don't understand, and they will start to be annoyed, and they will start to be a bit like upset. So that's why at that moment you will also feel upset on yourself, like why I have learned a bit, but still I'm not enough to communicate with the people in here. But I think if you can show like because it's later on when my friends in France, they teach me a little skill. It's like when you're trying to show your effort on using their language, they sometimes they will trying to also adopt to you and start to speak English with you. But for sure, you cannot take it for granted. You also have to keep on continue to learning French. So that's why like the 3 months of confinement is really helped me a lot, because I was staying with a French family for 3 months. And in the 3 months, I have to speak in French. I have no choice at all. And with a very 24-hour exposure in French, you will start to understand, you will start to able to at least respond a little bit. Like, so after the confinement, when I go on the street, when I go to different shop, or when I go to do my daily life, I realize like my French have been increased a lot, and I'm able to even have basic communicate with people, and people are very happy. And I'm also feeling my life is getting easier in Paris, because it's true, like Paris people, they are very fast paced. Yes, a bit slower than Hong Kong, but still they're very fast paced. You have to be everything very on point, very solid, very fast, and don't waste their time. And with the language, and now I'm be able to survive, and I really, really feel like my life is so much easier. At least I will have happy conversation right now, even on the metro. So language.
Yeah, you just go on.
No, it's just language. It's very, very, very important.
May I share my experiments or supplement some information? So I suggest that if you study French, it's better to study beyond Paris. So as Cedric said, that quite a lot of universities provide a language program and cheaper. So from the very beginning, I choose the Lille 3 at the university near the Loft, and actually just aside of Belgium. So I leave the Chinese shadows, and I just live there and speak French. And then just for 1 year, I mean 1 year is overall like 8 months or like 7 months of study. So I can reach the level. So at that time, there's no any public examinations of, the language examination, but you have to get approval or, a letter from your school that you are reached the level 2 at that time. So I just spent like 8 months is over there, and I know some people. With the people, they will go back to Paris, and then you find your school. Because I study art, so there's no choice. I think about Paris is the best, because I can share quite a different, experiments, and visiting the museum and galleries is more important to me too, and not only about the school life. So with that letter, and then you apply to school, and you also have to do interview. So the interview, you have to speak French, even a very simple, French. And also you have to prepare your portfolio. And the portfolio, they would like to look at something, not only the skillful thing, but more how your creative mind and also how you've been traveling around to, adopt the Europe life and more, they ask for things more personality or, related to any culture or your background. They really like and welcome the multicultural people living or studying in France. But the only thing is, if you do not speak the languages, just like in Germany and everywhere, you will lose quite a lot of chances, and you're unable to open the book for yourself to understand another culture. And through the books, and you understand another more things you want to approach. This is what I think. And for the first year, you're supposed not to have part-time job, that I know that you are more easily to find a place to live in the in beyond Paris, and also you can share with the another student. Parents of my one or two students, they have been studying in Paris or beyond Paris, and the parents said that they have to pay more than Hong Kong dollars, like the 6,000 Hong Kong dollars to raise up a youth, adult kid in Hong Kong. But actually, it's much cheaper if you don't go to the restaurant, okay? Because 50% of the tips is excluding your meal. So and that means they are really happy that their child is still studying and working there. And then if you are a couple, even you're just a girlfriend or boyfriend, if you want to live together and in a studio, you can apply to very specific or special scholarships, not scholarships, some assistance funding for your rent. You can't believe it. Yeah, this is what I think.
As I remember, when now you come to France and they will force you to get into like some student association or union, something like that, but it's for the stay. And because actually when you get into the school, and the first day when you enter the school, they already will give you this kind of things, and you have to pay around like 95 euros, something like that, for a whole year. And in this platform, actually, will have housing insurance, and also you will have support from the government. You can apply. I forget exactly the name, but once when you find a place to stay and you sign up a contract under your name, you can give to the document to the state, and then the state will kind of support your living in France. For example, like my place is rent for 1,000, and 1,000 is like 900 is for the rent. The extra is for the water and for electricity. But actually, the state help. They will every month give us around 300 to 400 to support the rent. So you can go to the platform and apply for that. And also, actually, they will have in that platform, they will help you for finding jobs. Shall I continue to talk about finding jobs, maybe?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because I think many people, maybe they will consider, okay, I come study and what's next? First, when you come study, you will have a visa. As Cedric said, you will have a special type of visa for student. And this visa, if you are staying for 1 year, and depends if you are master, or depends you just come from language school, something like that, but they have a special type of visa, is type D, then you are allowed to work in France for a limited time to actually give you a way to support your life in here. And people, it's true as Momo said, because now like the education is so much different. Like usually for a 1 year program, it's very intense. For my 1 year program, I begin from 9 to 6, so it's impossible for me to find a job. But if depends on your plan, like for some students, maybe their time schedule is much more flexible, then you can find a job maybe for Be My Nunu. is like something like be a nanny, like taking care of people's kids after school, and then you will earn like maybe 10 to 12 euro per hour. The legal wage in here is 10.90 euro. So yeah, if you find a job is lower than that, you can negotiate. And also you can find some part-time job like sales if you can speak French. You can also be plant carer, like go to people's garden to take care of their plant when they are not there. And also dog nanny, like when people say are not there, you take care of their dog, you walk their dog, then they will pay you per hour to support your life. Because when I'm here now, I remember when I tried to find an internship, they call stage. I can type in here. Stage. So like it's internship. It means internship for them. Usually you have to check with your school, because maybe some school is a must, is a graduation requirement. Like you have to do 3 to 6 months for the internship. For internship, some is not required, but in here for 2 months, if you only do a 2-month internship, the company they don't have to pay you. Like it's not obligatoire. It's not a must. Yeah, to pay you. And that's why maybe you have to work for them for free, but you can negotiate. Like for example, my internship right now is also for free, but at the beginning, I will tell my boss like it's for free. That's why I will not work for you 5 days per week, and I will only work from this to there, and I will request I work at home because I want to save up my transportation fee. So you can negotiate, but just have an idea in mind. It's not mandatory to pay. But if your internship is more than 3 months, then the company have to pay you. It's a law, like it's legally they have to pay you. If they don't pay you, then they are not good. They are illegal. And the price in here for a full-time internship is around 600 euro. 600, yeah, around 600 euro. And for part-time now, because of COVID, many company will also offer you a part-time internship. It will be 300 euro. Yeah, it's true. It's very low. It's even lower in Hong Kong, but it's like that. Yeah. So but you really need this experience. Trust me, because in France, people they hire people for contract. They have CDD and CDE, I guess, like some short-term and long-term contract worker. They will really look at your CV. They will look at your CV if you have some experience before to work with some company. So it's true. It doesn't matter if it's no pay. Like I understand. I'm also overcome that, because at the beginning I feel very, very mentally upset. Like why I have to do for free for people, and I already have an MBA program, but still I need to do a free job for people. What the fuck? But it's like that. Like it's like that. That's why I say s'adapter. Like when you have this experience, then you can jump to another better experience. So don't worry if it's no pay, but I will have a suggest that if it's no pay, then you can choose. If you reverse thinking, you choose a company or a place that you think you can learn. If you think you cannot learn, then just, okay, bye-bye. Like we don't see each other anymore. Find a place you can learn, because you are investing your time. You're investing your time, you're investing your effort. So find a place or find a person you want to learn from, work for 2 or 3 months, then you can find a better job.
Yeah, and also I would think of how, if you know in advance a little bit, how this experience could help you to move forward, rebound. So it can do either maybe through skills that that you will learn, or maybe contact or network that you will create. Because I think, yeah, a lot of things, I mean, like everywhere, I guess, in the world, is works a lot through knowing people, having some contacts, building up a network, and this happens through this kind of professional experiences. So think of, yes, if I work here, what kind of things, and even though it's for free, what kind of things I will gain? Yeah, so not only learning skills, but also social capital, and think about networking, and how you could maybe meet people that could help you to secure that next paid job, for example. So that's also something I would think of.
I have an experience actually to follow up what Cedric said. 2 months before I applied for a job, is an online platform for selling contemporary art. And on the day I was interviewed with a girl, and she already have a job after the summer. So she's not like very demanding for a job. For me, I have nothing. And I remember when we entered the office the same time, she actually know one of the internship that is working in there. And that's why, like, when doing the whole interview, the interviewer is nothing interesting on me, nothing. Even our CV, our experience and education level is same, but nothing. Like you can feel that she's not interesting to you at all, because you know that she's going to hire her just because she know people there. And that's why it's very important, like Cedric pointed out, the social capacity, because
Capital.
Capital, sorry. Even it's so mixed up for a different language. Because even the beginning, the first day when I entered my school, this is also the thing that the headmaster in my school, he speak in French, and he also said that, like, you have to make yourself to get into the industry and know more people, so you're more adept in the area. If people or student you're thinking to study, especially art or like luxury or even like contemporary art, this is something you need, like you have to, because it's true, like in France, it's more easy if you can make yourself get into their bubble, because that's also how they introduce people to each other. So when you're applying job, I think I also want to give a tips. Maybe I can send to Lillian later, because I think a very interesting thing for applying job is the CV. The CV of Hong Kong people, Hong Kong style and French style is so different. In French, their CV, they intend to have your picture on the CV, but in Hong Kong, in my age, I don't know what age you guys are, but in my age, like my teacher told me, oh, like try not to put your face in there, because then people will judge you.
Too young.
Yes, you look too young, and then we don't hire you. Sorry. But in France, they love to see you on the CV. So it's interesting to know. And also it's interesting that when I remember when I look at the CV of some French friends, they will put like, oh, I love to do yoga, or what I like to do in the leisure time. And I was like, huh, why you put that thing? Like in Hong Kong, we don't do that. Like it's very serious. Like everything should be rigid, like serious. And then no. If you don't put that, people will not choose you. And it's true. Like they will, beside of how your ability is, they still care about what kind of person you are. Like they will want to know what you will do. And I remember I take a workshop in my school for writing a CV. They said that if the boss discovered that you have some common point with them, they will more open up to you, and it will make you have a higher chance to get hired. So yeah, this is also something interesting.
Yeah, I think it's because I remember when I used to do my CV really long time ago in France, because I left more than 20 years ago now, but I actually thought about this kind of things, what kind of things you should put there as this category. And this category of like leisures or hobbies or sports is somehow a way for the people to see, like you mentioned, what kind of person you are. So, I mean, you could think of special activities or special sports maybe require or particular characteristics. So it will tell something about who you are. It will tell you maybe if I don't know, if you're someone who will keep doing things, or maybe you're actually working for some NGOs. So it will tell us a lot of things about, yeah, who you are, what kind of person you are, if you are turned towards other people, if you're doing sports which is more individual or collective sports. It might tell little things like that, and people will read through the lines of your CV and say like, well, these persons might be less interesting for, I don't know, like experience, professional experience or qualifications, but then maybe has a better profile in terms of, yeah, the characteristic of that person and on who this person is. So like you said, Yannie, it's not only about qualifications, but also what kind of things you can bring, what kind of dynamic you can bring to a team, to where you could work, etc. So if you're autonomous, if you're proactive, all these kind of things could be somehow, you know, read through your resume. And it's true with the photos as well, yes. Although now I think because there was a lot of discriminations as well, and it becomes a really big problem. So I think they tend to put less and less photos on the resume, which I think is good, because then you should not judge people by the way they look. And that was, and I guess it's still there, but hopefully less and less and less. But yes, maybe put some other things on your resume to actually can tell things
Yeah.
to potential people who can hire you.
And
yeah.
I remember the workshop, the teacher said that, like, I asked him a question, like I say, all the time when I look at the profile from people who work in art, they always have a very still face, like, you know, those kind of arrogant face, not smiling, very cool. And they will make it black and white, very cool. And then, like, should I do like that for the picture? Is it easier for me to get into the industry? And he said, no, don't do that. Like, please put a smiley face, like not like smiley like this, but at least a little bit nice face, because like if you're working for the art industry, they need people to look nice, like not like arrogant and difficult to approach. No, don't do that. So now I realize, like, people, what kind of requirement they are. So if you are finding a job next time, remember, like, you can decide if you want to put a picture or not, but remember, if you put it, find a picture that you are with a smile, don't with a still face. It's true. Anyone have any questions, maybe?
Yeah, does anyone have any questions? So far, I only had maybe I can share Varolchi, who asked me about École Nationale Supérieure of Arles, of photography. I was planning to go there and see whether it was actually a good school. And then, yes, it is a good school. They have this Superior National School of architecture, of photography, of art. So it's national education, and it's like higher education. And they have this not only in Paris, actually, like Momo was saying, actually, you should look everywhere. And Arles is this very tiny small place in the south of France, and they have one of these schools. So it's actually only for photography, but it's also quite a prestigious school. They have an international photography festival every summer, which is also very famous and very prestigious. So it's not only in Paris things are happening. There's a lot of different things in other regions, and sometimes in very small places. You will be surprised, and also things will be cheaper as well to live. To find a place will be easier. People might be nicer, even though Parisian people I've heard that they're getting better, less arrogant, and more open to other people. But I guess they still have some ways to go. But but it's getting better, hopefully.
I forgot once at school. Before I back to Hong Kong, and then I find out there's one very good school. It's Louvre Museum.
Yeah.
They have, I think they have a 5 years program. I heard that very easy, not difficult to involve, to enroll. But of course, with the French standard, a good standard. And after that, it's not easy to graduate. I mean, it's not easy to graduate. That could be a very good school that give you the chance.
Yeah, it's true.
Really work hard at that. And not only about the history, but also the conservation part that you have, or you can learn how to preserve the objects in an actual environment with rich, the collections. And then I think it's not only Hong Kong, and overall, there's a lot of museum, there are a lot of collections, but they're short of that kind of, professional people to take up this. And we do not have that program in Hong Kong at this moment. What I know is the people working in Hong Kong Art Museum, they will hire someone, they graduate from chemistry, and then after that 1 or 2 years send them to overseas to study that conservation skills, and then back to Hong Kong. Those people are still working in the Hong Kong Art Museum. We have more modern museum. This is a really good opportunity, and also 5 years. It's not long for you just 23 and 24 age at that moment. I think you guys have to try, and the school fee is not expensive as well.
No, yeah, as Mom will say, like the Louvre, the conservation is very prestige. Like I remember, they will actually require their student to have very practical training, and they will send them to Chateau de Versailles, the 法宜菜宫, to fix their textile, to fix the furniture and things like that. Like actually in France, conservation is also a very popular subject, because in people I know, I heard about some of my friends, they go to learn not only like art object conservation, but they also learn how to make like violin, like making music instrument. They will have school, special, like public school, special for that. And also they will have school in different provinces for parfum, like for perfume.
Yeah.
They will, I know in Hong Kong, like many people would like to come to learn how to make perfume, how to make wine, how to cook and things like that. Yeah, this is also something you can think. And also, if for people they want to first come here, experience a little bit, I remember you can also try to look for artists in residence. It's also a way you can think, because for artists in residence, they have different program. It's true, like Cedric said, it's mostly in the south, but then they will provide you for living, they provide you for pocket money, some depends, different program. They provide you for all the things you need to eat in there, things like that. So it's also a good experience if you're not sure, are you going to stay long, but you want to get used to it. This is something that you can also try. And I put my email in the chat box. So for anyone, if you have any question, you can send me the email. Send me an email later on, and I'll reply you as soon as possible. We have 6-hour differences, so forgive me if I reply very late.
So not only art, but the fashion photography, And then also I remind one of a friend a long, long time ago, but I haven't contact with her. She studied color, so that she have to know about how to use the original plant, natural plant, to produce color, and also how to mixing up with color, the color in industrial production area. So after the graduate, like 4 years BA program, and she back to Shanghai where she come from, and then she start her own workshop, you know, a little open, you know, a studio in street. And then the people, the graduate people come to her, and also the, I forget the names of the American branding, United Color, the company for her, and to see what's the next seasons, the color mixing of the protection, you know, the protection goods. So I think this is, don't limit yourself just in art, but anything related to making or creating art, and that's you would not find boring in Paris. And I absolutely think about you would find that kind of related job in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, and don't limit Paris. Like,
yeah,
France is very huge. Like, for example, you can go to the area of the north, a bit northwest, Normandy, Brittany, and also go to Caen, go to Luron. It's also a very cultural, historical place. Like, it's also very nice there. You don't have to limit in Paris. Like, yes, Paris have more opportunity, but at the same time, there are also other opportunity in the rest of the France.
I have a question from Jael, and about graphic design, School of Graphic Design, and just any recommendations. So I sent maybe the École Nationale Supérieure des Arts Décoratifs. This one is in Paris, but again, it depends where and what specialty you want to focus on. And so again, for also all of you, I would go to the catalog on the Campus France. And I sent you also, so the chat, a PDF as well about the different diplomas in art. And so you can actually start to look at systems and different kind of diplomas and to select. And then I think we can always come back to me or Yannie as well. I think I put my email. Oh, I sent it to only to one person. So I'm going to put my email to all of you as well in the chat as well. So if you want to contact me after maybe some kind of preliminary research that you have done in terms of selecting potentially, because again, it's difficult to know everything, all the different schools. But then I mean, obviously can help you to look at it and to see if it would be interesting for you or not, or if there will be other choices and what kind of other choice it would be. So let me type my email here.
Why not? You just only have the student card. You can visit all the museum, most of the museum without pay.
Even in
to do it.
Even in Mont Saint Michel.
Yeah.
Oh,
really? Yeah. Last time I just went there again. Oh, it's quite beautiful. So you're unable to do it in in your travel holiday, but just for 2 years, stay there and visiting all the museum. They have the museum book guide, and then one by one, each one we will have like 4 or 6. So with my student card, I visit most of the museum, especially in Paris. It's a really good time.
Yeah, it's crazy because I remember after the confinement, all the museum, they start to push their exhibition, and it's so many of them, like you can't even, I remember I have half of them was missed because I don't have enough time to go to the museum. But imagine it's just in Paris, and right now they also have a big exhibition in all the Normandy region. So they connect to all different museum, Beaux-Arts Musée, different museum, and to have, especially in the topic of Impressionists. So yeah, it's also something, I think it's interesting to share a bit, like, if you want to work for auction house, I'm not sure, like if for someone more into want to work for auction house, then you have to know that in France, they are not that easy to hire people like in Hong Kong. Like in Hong Kong, maybe you graduate from Baptist University and then you apply, you can go for internship, but in here is not that easy because the competitive is so much bigger. And also they request people have to be very knowledgeable in the specific area. So it will be the best if you try to present yourself that you have to make all your best to present that I'm very professional in, for example, impressionists, or for example, like jewelry, things like that. If you really, really want to get into auction house, any kind, no matter Sophie, all those big thing, or even the middle range, it's like that. Because as I told you at the beginning, people request for deep instead of a lot. So it's also some experience I get when I apply for internship and job in here. Yeah, you have to present yourself very professional.
All right, running time out. So if any questions, or you can send the question to us. Otherwise, we will, end this dialogue here. And thank you, Yannie and Cedric.
Thank you, Yannie.
Yeah.
Thank you, Momo, as well.
Paris.
And Lilian.
So here I will, to let you know our next or the last the dialogue. We invite Guangzhou 美术学院 the Guangzhou Academies of Art, Wu Ben, Dr. Wu Ben. He's our visiting scholar in coming semester, and having a dialogue with alumni Akil, and she have been studied in Beijing Academic of Fine Art. So they will talk about how the environment, the requirement, and also the the life in China to study art or related activities. So
yeah, and remember it is on Monday. Not Tuesday.
Yes, it is on Monday. It's on Monday. Is the last one is 31st. Yeah, August. Okay. See you.
Okay, thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye again. Au revoir.
Bye. Au revoir.
À bientôt.
Au revoir, à bientôt. Merci.
Merci.
Bonne
Merci
journée.
à toi, Yannie. Bonne journée à toi.
Oui. Ciao.
Bye.